Analysts have called this BM-21 rocket launcher the AK-47 of artillery, because it's been used in almost every armed conflict since 1969. Experts say it was technologically outdated in the 90s. So why is this 60-year-old rocket launcher everywhere in this war? And right now, both Ukraine and Russia are using the Soviet-era weapon.
Artillery system. It can saturate a battlefield in seconds, blanket fire that erases positions and morale. But what happens when this symbol of raw firepower becomes the hunted instead of the hunter? In this video, you'll see how a single drone flipped the balance, striking a fully loaded launcher before it could unleash devastation. Did technology just outsmart brute force? Stay with this, because the answer may change how you think about modern combat forever. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. A truck bristling with launch tubes, capable of raining down dozens of rockets in under a minute, sits quietly. It looks harmless in that frozen moment, just steel and wheels under the sun. But the question hangs in the air: what happens when that serpent of steel becomes the prey? The BM-21 Grad was built as a weapon.
BM-21 can fire up to 40 unguided rockets in 20 seconds. The rockets are nearly 10 feet tall and are most commonly armed with high-explosive fragmentation warheads. This heavy and indiscriminate bombardment is what gave the BM-21 the nickname Grad, Russian for hail. It's what makes the Grad effective even today. When all 40 rain down, they can cover an area almost as large as 10 football fields. The Grad is often used to suppress fire, a tactic to provide cover for forces, and weaken the enemy before another attack.
Weapon of shock. Mounted on a simple truck chassis, it carries rows of rocket tubes angled upward like a porcupine bracing for impact. Every tube holds unguided rockets built for one purpose: saturation fire. In that role, it became known for overwhelming barrages that could collapse defenses before the defenders had time to react. The system was mobile, easy to hide, quick to reposition. Its reputation rested on the idea that once it fired, escape or survival was almost impossible within its zone. This raises the central problem. How do ground forces neutralize a weapon that can erase entire positions before counter-battery radar even calibrates? By the time friendly artillery locks onto a location, the Grad may already have emptied its tubes and vanished behind tree lines or into urban clutter. The kill chain against such a launcher is too slow for traditional measures. That's why commanders list a fully loaded Grad among priority targets. Let one escape, and it can devastate an infantry line, wreck supply convoys, or shred a trench system without warning. Loaded to capacity, the BM-21 carries 4 dozen rockets, each more than 2 meters long and armed with high-explosive fragmentation warheads. Once the crew gives the signal, all those rockets can leave their tubes in less than 30 seconds. Imagine dozens of fire trails cutting across the horizon at once. That wall of metal and explosives descends upon coordinates spread across a 1-kilometer square. The result isn't precision. It's chaos: bursts punching craters among sandbags, debris sweeping through tree lines, shrapnel cutting across a defensive grid. The system's purpose is volume, not accuracy. It drowns a sector in noise, fire, and uncertainty.
Most of the 122mm rockets have a range of 12 miles, though some can reach up to 25. So Ukraine has used it mostly along the front lines to hit Russian artillery batteries and infantry. Experts say the Grad's main flaw is the defining part of its design, that it has no guidance system. After loading the rockets, an operator calculates the coordinates of the target and gives them to the gunman, who adjusts the launcher. This lack of accuracy is why it needs so many rockets to be truly effective. And that's a problem for Ukraine, because analysts believe the country's original stockpile is already gone. However, an explosive Grad warhead has a lethal area radius of about 50 feet. and it can still severely maim someone within 100 feet.
The consequences if one of these trucks remains active through a battle are severe. Every extra salvo means towns forced to scatter, forward patrols destroyed in moments, and counteroffensives delayed under constant threat of massed rockets. Letting a Grad roam free transforms the battlefield into a zone of desperation, where whole brigades fear mass impacts without warning. That is the real tactical risk. Survival after firing means it will fire again, and again, until silenced. For years, the answer to rocket artillery was bigger artillery or fast attack jets. But both come with delays, resource cost, and danger. Aircraft require air superiority and support assets. Counter-battery strikes depend on radar, heavy ammunition, and precise timing. Meanwhile, the Grad is already moving after releasing its fury. So what new tool can stalk it in real time? The unexpected answer is the drone. What once was seen as a niche reconnaissance toy has become a hunter's weapon. Some drones are cheap, small enough to fit in a backpack, controlled by a single operator with a handheld station. Others are military upgrades with stronger engines, longer range, and stabilized optics. None carry firepower anywhere near a Grad's volume. But they don't need to. Their advantage is approach. A drone can drift quietly above tree lines, circle for hours, then slip unnoticed into the blind zone of a convoy. Think about the contrast. The Grad depends on storm-level destruction, its rockets blanketing squares of Earth with fire. The drone depends on patience and precision. Carrying a single improvised munition, sometimes no heavier than a mortar shell, it aims not for destruction in bulk but for one defining weakness. A truck engine. A fuel tank. The junction between cab and launcher. Steel armor is thin at those points. A hit here doesn't just damage, it neutralizes. The crew may escape the blast, but the weapon is out of play. Picture it, a Grad worth immeasurable firepower sits camouflaged on the side of a dirt road. Above, invisible in the haze, a cheap quadrotor closes in. The operator marks a weak angle, releases the charge, and gravity does the rest. In seconds, smoke rises from the target. No massive artillery formation was needed. No bombing run. Just a single drone costing a fraction of what the rocket system represents. What dozens of troops and an entire arsenal might fail to destroy at range, one flying machine erases with well-placed timing. And that is the real shift. This story isn't only about one truck disabled in the field. It represents a turning point, where massed firepower faces precise, adaptable weapons that don't fight on the same terms. Every drone that survives long enough to reach its target makes commanders rethink which side truly dictates the tempo of war. The Grad was designed to dominate entire sectors with firepower alone. Its role was sheer volume, 40 rockets in half a minute, overwhelming any unit caught in range. But today, the battlefield belongs to precision. Small, agile systems now stalk these giants and strike at their weak points before a single rocket leaves the tube. So here's the question for you. Are we witnessing the end of raw power ruling the fight, or the beginning of smaller, smarter weapons resetting the rules? Comment your choice below. And subscribe to join a community that tracks the true realities of modern conflict.